Hey everybody, it's me again, Randy Ray at the Literate Texan, which is my YouTube channel where we talk about books and literature, highbrow, lowbrow, anything in between. This is my reading recap for June of 2025. I would hope to have better results to share with you, but I don't. I read, let's see here, looks like 4 books in June. Truth be told, I hadn't been feeling well. Okay, this video will contain spoilers. I am going to briefly review each of these books. All of these books I read on my Kindle device. I have some vision problems of late, and reading stuff on actual paper has gotten very difficult for me. But reading it on the Kindle, I seem to have no trouble with. So I'm not going to go in any particular order in terms of when I read these either. Oh, yes, I am. I've got Goodreads pulled up over here on my computer, and I'm going to do them in order there. Where did it go? It just disappeared. So, let's see. What have I been reading? You know, it was June on the Range, and that's one of my favorite reading events because I do love Westerns. And one of the Westerns that I read was Appaloosa, which was made into a movie, a very good movie, by the way. But it's a better book. It's by Robert W. Parker. And he's best known as a crime writer. I believe the Spencer novels is what he's most well known for. See, I have so much trouble with pulling these pictures up to show y'all. Anyway, Appaloosa is about a marshal who's really just more of a gun for hire, but he always hires himself out to these towns that are into trouble because there's somebody bullying somebody. And he's got his sidekick, Virgil. And they come in and take over this town. And they do all right until one of them falls in love. And that opens up a whole new kettle of worms for both of them because she is not necessarily the most innocent blossom to ever fall off of the, shrubbery, if you know what I mean. So anyway, it's excellent though. Very tightly written. It goes by quick. It's not heavy, it's just a really, really solid Western novel. But that's the one that I finished most recently. Before that, I read a little Western novel called The Loner, Edge Number 1. Now, this is one I picked up from Criminale. Okay, this was one of his ideas. And in fact, if you watch the opening credits on Criminale's channel, you'll see he's got a picture of this book series. It's a men's adventure series in England that was published, I don't know, I guess in the 1960s or 70s, about a character named Edge. And the way I saw it described was as being more like a spaghetti Western than a traditional Western. But it was interesting enough. I mean, this guy gets out of the war. He comes home to find that his only brother's been killed, but he knows who did it. They were soldiers that used to report to him. And, they knew where the money was hidden. So anyway, he, becomes a one-man fighting fist of rage and revenge and goes after them. And that's the rest of the novel is him getting to them and getting his revenge against them. But it's, it's pretty low rent. I mean, when I'm talking about, highbrow, lowbrow, and every shade in between. It's pretty lowbrow entertainment, The Edge is. But it was, like I said, pretty entertaining. I might give it another shot. There's 42 or 43 more books in the series. I was going to try to show off these books on this Kindle device. I'm just not even going to try because it's just not going to work, okay? So that's book number 2. Book number 3 is called Yesterday's Sun. I'm not just participating in June on the Range. I'm also participating in an event called Book Trek 2025, The Search for Spock. So it's not The Search for Spock, it's The Search for Trek. Maybe The Search for Michael came on, I don't know. But at any rate, Yesterday's Sun is a sequel, a literal sequel to one of the television episodes. This is fairly early during this was back when they still numbered the novels. You get the novels were being published by Pocket Books, and they were numbered. And the original series novels were pretty much all you had because the Next Generation wasn't a thing yet. And this was novel number 11. There have been well over 100 novels in the original series continuity by now. But anyway, Yesterday's Sun's a direct sequel. Spock, in the penultimate episode of the TV series, winds up going back in time on another planet, 5,000 years back in time. And, he falls in love with a woman who's trapped in that time period too. But, off screen, during the fade out, they do what men and women do. And so he learns through ice paintings that they found that there's a Vulcan who looked remarkably similar to him that's being drawn 5,000 years before. And he decides, well, it's his duty to be a father to this child. So, he manages to pull some strings at Starfleet, and they give him permission to use the Guardians of Forever to go back in time and interact with his son. Long story short, his son winds up back in the past where he belongs, 5,000 years in the past. But there's another sequel, and I have a suspicion that, he's not going to be staying in the past forever. Okay, so that was Yesterday's Sun, Star Trek novel. That one was written by A.C. Crispin, who, A.C. Crispin kind of made a career of writing Vulcan novels. And in fact, the next book on my list that I read this year, and this was fairly lengthy, but I thought it was surprisingly good. It was called Serak. Serak in the original series of the TV series is Spock's father. He's an ambassador to Earth. Very distinguished career, but pretty racist towards humans. But not so racist that he wouldn't marry one. And that's how Spock came to be half human, half Vulcan. So you get to see a little bit inside of Serak's thought processes when it comes to meeting and wooing a woman and what it is that he likes and doesn't like. So that was pretty interesting. And then, there's always a plot going on in these things too. Something's happening with a space guns somewhere. In this particular one, the villains are a crew of renegade Klingons. They're not following orders of the Klingon government. And they have kidnapped Peter Kirk, James T. Kirk's nephew, who is just about old enough to be graduating from Starfleet Academy now. So you got that whole plot going on alongside the plot with Serak. Serak's dealing with the loss of his wife while Spock's dealing with the loss of his mother. And then there's also a bigger plot where it has to do with these aliens hating humans. But I swear this could have been written yesterday, but it was written years ago. But there's a fringe group in the novel that's mission for this fringe group is to get all the aliens to go home. Don't want any more space aliens here on Earth, especially not Vulcans. Go figure, right? All right. Finally, the fifth book that I read this last month in June was called Miracle Monday. It's a Superman novel by Elliot S. Maggin, and it was published in 1981 to capitalize on the success of the movie. I'm going to do a fuller, more detailed review of Miracle Monday. I'll probably post that on Thursday. But, and then I can take advantage of a little bit of Superman excitement because July 11th's a week and a half away, baby. I'm a big Superman on the big screen fan. Anyway, in 1978 and 1981, Elliot S. Maggin had the unique privilege to write a couple of novels about Superman, which were then published by Warner. And one of the interesting marketing decisions that they made was they used photography from the Superman movies, even though the plot lines and the continuities in these books have nothing to do with the Superman in these movies. But anyway, it was an odd little plot. Miracle Monday has to do with first, Lex Luthor's escaping from prison and he tears a hole in the fabric of reality which enables the demons to get in from hell. And one of the demons does come in from hell, gets sent in from hell by basically Lucifer himself. Gets sent in and possesses this woman. A woman is able to be possessed because she's from the future. She's come back. She's a historian from the future who's used time travel to come back and study something that's going on in Metropolis, the holiday Miracle Monday. But anyway, she winds up possessed by this demon who plays these pranks. But This demon doesn't have the same personality that Mr. McSpittleplick has. This demon has his own personality. He's mean, but he's not just wastefully killing everybody either. And so Superman decides that, since the only way to stop this demon apparently is to kill the host, Superman just decides that he's going to fight the demon for the rest of his life, if that's what he needs to minimize the damage. Because, he can't kill somebody. He can't break his code against violence. Once he does that, the demons have to grant him a wish. I'm not kidding about this. Granting a wish. It's like I'm reading 1001 Nights suddenly. But yeah, so he gets a wish and he wishes that everything went back to normal. But people do have trace subconscious memories that something really important and magical happened on Monday. And that's why the holiday Miracle Monday, which I believe is the third Monday in May, got started. And I don't think there's too many people here in the real world celebrating at all, but I don't think LAS Mag minds he's celebrating. So those were the 5 books I read in June of 2025. Tell me something about the books you read in June of 2025. Did you read anything particularly disappointing? Did you read anything that was particularly exciting? What do you got planned to read next month? Are you in the middle of something? I'm in the middle of June on the Range still. I'm in the middle of True Grit, which is a reread for me. But yeah, I'm almost finished with my reread of it. But yeah, tell me what's up with you in the comments. And last 2 things, which, if you've watched my channel before now, I'm going to say it. Stay sexy, folks, and stay hydrated.